What's up, all you cool cats and kittens out there? Get ready, because we got something coming at you on the ones and twos. A little advice for the GMs. Join this American Dice as we lay it on you, daddy-o. On mysteries in RPGs. So I've struggled with how to run mysteries, particularly those wrought with political intrigue, and for any of those of you who have listened to the L5R game, you'll find that that's very, very true, and you'll say, you have advice for me? All right, why don't I ask a guy with no fingers how to be a great carpenter? Well, far too often, there's a lot of problems. One of the things is the timetable sometimes stretches out past player memory, or the players miss the crucial clues that you've left, or they simply don't look in the closet when that was where the murderer's bloody handprint was, or they don't understand that a person missing their left eye wouldn't have seen what was going on the port side of a ship. Well, after numerous struggles with all of this kind of stuff and how to get players to figure out what's going on with mysteries, I formulated a simple answer. I need to stop being subtle. The characters might be detectives, but the players aren't. And you can say that all the time. The characters aren't fighters, or the characters are fighters even though the players aren't. Yeah, but fighting in Dungeons & Dragons in some of these games is very much mechanicked out. Having this stuff and deciding what to look into next oftentimes isn't mechanicked out in these games. Instead, the players have to figure this stuff out. So, again, while the characters might be detectives, the players aren't. In murder mystery shows, the audience is flat out told shit when the brilliant detective figures out what's going on. All right, aha, so that means it was, like that kind of deal. All right, aha, the victim's name backwards is, whatever it might be. That kind of stuff is far from subtle. Even when the character notices, wait a minute, you couldn't have done that if you were left-handed. You must be, and then they pull off the person's mask or whatever it is. It's generally said directly to the audience. All right, it's made usually very, very clear. Sherlock Holmes sits down and says, well, Watson, here's the deal. Get me my opium and I'll tell you what's happening. That kind of thing. Mysteries are a mainstay of RPGs, but I have to warn you, just don't be subtle. All right? But I'll blow the whole thing too early, and I don't want to blow my load too early and have a mess on my hands. Don't worry about blowing your load too early. You're playing with humans, unless, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Anyway, you're playing with people, and they will do a great job of fucking things up for themselves and really doubting what you just told them. So, don't be too subtle. If you think you're maybe being too subtle, you're being too subtle. If you think you're being subtle, you're being too subtle. Did he say that the conductor killed the prince? Yeah, but is that guy really the conductor? That kind of shit. All right, don't be too subtle. If you want to be subtle, prepare to be misunderstood or just far too slow. It's too easy for people to miss stuff. All right? The system that you're using can also really change stuff up here. More country systems like D&D, Vampire, and L5R set up mysteries that can keep the PCs at bay by having target numbers or opposed rolls that are nearly impossible to overcome until the characters advance their stats to the necessary level. If you have a situation where there's no way that a level 1 character can beat this skill challenge or whatever we're talking about, then yeah, the characters won't really be able to figure it out till they advance enough in level to beat that skill challenge. All right, if it's statistically incredibly improbable that a character will be able to defeat or best this other character in a contested roll to truly see past their freaking mask of illusion or whatever we're talking about, or even just poker face, then yeah, you've got that built-in clock there. So in some of those crunchier systems, you've got that, but less crunchy games, particularly the Powered by the Apocalypse games, have PCs come to the table with the ability to figure out a lot of stuff very easily. Even a brand new PC can unwrap a lot with just the basic moves. And we ran into that with our L5R game, where, hey, if somebody wants to ask a question, they can just flat out figure out what's up. So then what do I tell them? So then you have to ask yourself, do I give the dodgy answer to keep my mystery mysterious, or do I come out with the truth and stay true to the move and risk blowing apart my Chinatown redo that I'm trying to put together? All right, give it up, Jake. It's not going to happen. She's just not that into you. Here's my suggestion. Ask yourself, how close are we to cracking this case? If the answer is close, or even pretty close, just crack that nut, all right? Here comes the Rat King. You better get that nutcracker out. If the answer is, we still have a lot to go in this mystery, in that case, I would suggest using the dodgy answer. But tell the PCs that the answer they're getting is incomplete or dodgy. This way they know that the info they got isn't the full truth, and they can look into this avenue for more info down the road. If you don't give them the full answer, though, expect them to be a little bit bothered by that. So, to appease them, here's my suggestion. Try giving them something else. Maybe they can figure out what the murder weapon was, but they learn of someone who can give them that info who's mysteriously absent from their job and could only have been sent away by someone working for the mayor. Okay, you basically use them not being able to crack the whole case to find another clue that they can get to. So they can't jump from 2 to 9, but they can go from 2 to 4, and that's still progress, and they'll still feel like, okay, we've got another piece of this puzzle, and then later on they can come back to this stuff. But tell them and be honest that you're not giving them the full answer. If they know that, okay, you know this guy's lying, though you can't prove it, they can then look into other clues to help kind of corroborate their version of the story rather than just freaking out. So, give them something is the bottom line. Handing over clues is important. They won't be able to put anything together without good, solid clues. What happens, though, when the PCs are totally stuck, totally lost, totally without a clue, and feeling like they're running into a wall at every turn? Well, aside from accusing you of obstruction or railroading, they're likely to do some stuff that really rips the mystery genre apart and can throw off the tone. When players don't think they have anywhere to go that will be productive, they often turn into hammers, and to a hammer, every problem is a nail. Now they start going into places guns blazing, they start threatening people, and they tend to do stuff that can really change the mystery genre thing that you got going into an action-packed bloodbath. If that's what you want, hell, it doesn't matter, go for it, that's cool. But if you wanted to recreate a slow burn detective story, you're going to lose that. All right? So, the big thing is, don't be too subtle. If you can't give them a complete answer for fear of ruining the mystery, give them a dodgy answer, but tell them you're doing that and give them something else that helps them move towards solving the mystery. Without that, you're going to have characters say, well, it doesn't matter what we plan, it doesn't matter what we look into. The only thing that matters is we just rush in and try to shoot at everybody, and that's how this will work. All right. To continue this conversation, if you want to hear a conversation I had with Sean Nittner and Lenny Balacera and Eric Fettig on the great show Narrative Control, which is the podcast that got me into gaming podcasts, follow the link in the show notes. Basically just search Narrative Control. It's episode 70, Mysteries, and we talk for a while about that, and those guys have a lot of great advice, and I think we're pretty helpful.
But you never followed their advice in that entire L5R game. So I listened to it and I spotted that you didn't follow the very advice that you're giving here, and that Sean Nittner and Lenny and Eric gave you in that podcast from quite a few years earlier. Shut up, frog!
No Muppets were harmed in the making of this podcast. Join us next week for more exciting episodes of This American Dice. On Thursdays, we got the long game. On Fridays, we've either got a short game or every now and again some advice for all you cool cats and kittens out there trying to run your game and make it as smooth as you know you can be, baby. See you next week.